Shalom, Akim. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahakodash, that honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, salutations, and blessings to the elect, pushing the word across the four corners of earth, risking your life to do so. We really don't have long. That's why the scriptures talk about the Lord returning as a thief in the night. It's going to be upon you suddenly. And here we are. But this is just a lesson I was meditating upon, because as the camps grow, as the men, grow and become built up, one of the things you see is where Israel is, Israel stops listening. It becomes a mob, That's what happened with the Lord. Israel talking about, we don't want to talk to Moses. We want to speak with the Lord. So the Lord spoke with them. They was like, hold up, they heard thunder. And then they were like, hold on, we can talk to Moses. We can, And that's how it is. I was just talking to a brother about that. All right, the scriptures say, and I'm going to just quote this particular scripture, say the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. It says it a few times. All right, and you have to continue to have that fear into the end. And this is not like a fear of you sitting in the corner in the basement shaking, but it's a reverence, it's an awe. I believe it's Sirach where it talks about the fear of the Lord, and this is Sirach 18-23. In fact, let me get that one first. It's Sirach 19 and 18. The fear of the Lord is the first step to be accepted of him. Yeah, verse 18. I'm going to read it again. The fear of the Lord is the first step to be accepted of him, and wisdom obtains his love. Right? The fear of the Lord is the first step to be accepted of him, because you acknowledge him. You acknowledge your power. What does it say? Am I not a father? And a lot of Israel, if you notice, they go off into all these spaces of podcast and rap and all this bullshit. But you guys forget the fear of the Lord. See, the Lord told us to do certain things. I go to the highways, byways, preach the word in season and out of season. Right? All the seasons of your life, whether you're going through good, whether you're going through bad. It's very important. All right, that's part of the awe. That's part of the fear, the devotion. Not just when you feel like doing it, not just, this ain't Esau's job where you don't feel like showing up, or I'll just quit and I'll just do something else. This is to the end. It has to be consistently to the end. All right, what did Paul say? I must do these things lest I become a castaway. All the men of the Lord that we read about, they continue to labor until the end. And until that time comes where they finally just pull the plug, we have to continue. All right, you got to continue to show up to camp. You got to continue to deal. You got to continue to grow. All right, regardless of what rank you get or title you get. That's very important. Growth is very important. All right, I'm going to jump to the point in verse 20. It says, the fear of the Lord is all wisdom. It says, and in all wisdom is the performance of the law and the knowledge of his omnipotency. All right, so it hits the same point. It's like you had that parable where Yahweh Shai brought out. He said you had one servant that said he wouldn't do something and did it, and then one servant that said he would and did not. Which one was more righteous? And the servant that said they wouldn't but did was more righteous. But then here to add to that, verse 21, it says, if a servant say to his master, I will not do as it pleases you. So that servant wasn't even supposed to say he wouldn't do it. Even though he ended up doing it, he's supposed to say, I'll serve you and serve. Right? There shouldn't be no on the fence. There shouldn't be no gray area, midlife crisis. Matter of fact, I'm going to do a lesson on that, man. In season and out of season. Right? If a servant say to his master, I will not do as it pleases you, though afterward he do it, he angers him that nourishes him. So that pisses the Lord off, because you made a commitment. When you enter into his ministry, you committed yourself. Especially brothers in Great Millstone, we have certain standards. Because this ain't the niggas turn everything to the hangout, the cookout. This ain't the hangout and the cookout. The place to eat chicken. Right, jumping over Sirach 18 and 23. It says, before you pray, prepare yourself, and be not as one that tempts the Lord. You don't want to tempt the Lord with the kind of shit that you're doing, or even the kind of shit that you're praying about. Because ultimately, the Lord knows what you need at the end of the day. But then you pray for certain things. And see, Jake will pray for, I want this and I want that, and that might not even be something that you really need. It says, think upon the wrath that shall be at the end, and the time of vengeance. See, that's the time that we're in. I was just watching this new Punisher movie. Basically, they show him as a scripture talk about a spirit created for vengeance. People are going crazy. People are flipping shit. Second Esdras 15 and 16 is going on. Sedition. And he just flips his shit. He just completely crashes the fuck out. And they show you in the movie, it's no police. There's women on the floor screaming and kids getting smacked around. They could have been more graphic with it, but they show it. That's the time we in, man. The time of vengeance. What does it say? Say he weighs the spirit. Let's see. They say he weighs the soul. Okay, weighs. It's not weigh, it's not weighs. Weigheth. That's what it is. Proverbs 16 and 2. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord weigheth the spirits. Right? Yeah, the Lord weighs your spirit. And that's heavy, because we certain matters Lord put certain brothers over to judge. Ultimately judgment is in the hand of the Father. But in these different churches, certain matters are judged, certain judgments go forth. A brother might get mercy, brother might get your punishment. Or, brother might get punishment, but then he gets mercy with that. Like here in Chicago, I must say, the elders have shown a lot of mercy on a lot of different situations where you hear like, wow. They always say, shit, I want mercy. I would want mercy in this situation. So I understand. But at the end of the day, it's the Lord that weighs the spirit. Like whether you get to pass or not, whether you get to make it through this or not. Because everybody in the camp with you might not necessarily be of the elect. Like the brother you cool with might not necessarily be of the elect. Right? It's all in the hands of the Lord. And the Lord is not looking for the cool guy, the cool dude. Because that's what Jake does, man. Jake brings gimmicks and the shit, and let's add a music program, and then, okay, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna play this sport, and then we're gonna all show up at the wives, all this extra shit. Which is nothing wrong with having extracurriculars. But the Lord brought us together for this particular purpose, to serve Him. This is the main goal. This is the main focus. All right, back to this Sirach 18. Matter of fact, verse 25, I'm going to just read through. It says, when you have enough, remember the time of hunger, and when you're rich, think upon poverty and need. Right? We always talk about that balance. From the morning until the evening, the time is changed, and all things are soon done before the Lord. Right? The Lord's going to see everything at the end of the day anyway. It says, a wise man will fear in everything. In the day of sinning, he will beware of offense, but a fool will not observe time. And see, that's the lot we want to be in. You don't want to be caught off guard where you just doing any old thing, and then all of a sudden the Lord comes back, and now, that's your ass. And that's not a thing of you're going to fear, and, oh my gosh, should I go outside? It could be something like that, but this is basically talking about all the actions you take. And shit, I give you one more. You're dealing with brothers. Matter of fact, you're dealing with men who are over you. All right? The frustrating the men who have been set up over you. All right? All you despisers of government, as the scriptures talk about. Being frustrating to deal with, doing niggerish shit, trying to be slick all the time. Jake always want to supplant in everything, in every way, but you can't do that. All right, whoever the Lord put up, that's what the Lord put up. That's just what it is. All right, Jake come in and try to make this into I like this brother, so I'm gonna act like this to this. No, you have to show respect for who the Lord set up over you. All right, especially the men at the top. He said the elders who rule over you are worthy of double honors. Meaning they've done their due diligence, they put in the work, right? They've made certain mistakes, and now they're gonna make it easier for you. Right, so that you could come in and you could grow faster, you can be on a level much faster. All right, that's what it means when it talks about the fear of the Lord. It talks about reverencing a priest. There's a certain reverence, there's a certain respect, there's a certain fear that you should have for the priesthood, the men around you. Because they're watchmen. They're watching over you too. It says, scriptures say that they watch over your soul. All right, to present you, to present an unspotted garment. All right, because that's ultimately going to go on them. The Lord said He's going to judge the house of Israel first, right? But He said He's going to judge the ancient men, right? He's going to judge the elders first. So it's a lot of responsibility that comes with titles and offices. All right. Now at the same time, you got to handle your business. All right. This is Sirach 30, And 24, it says, envy and wrath shorten the life, and carefulness brings age before the time. Right? And that's a big part too. You can't come in and be envious and wrathful. And like the scriptures talk about in a parable, a man basically, he will beat the manservants. Because this ain't our personal show. And we've seen that before, where Jake come in and try to abuse the brotherhood. And it could be in different ways. Some guys are leeches, they leech the energy. Some guys come in and they want to play politics and all this other shit. It's a lot of different ways. And in all those different ways, the Lord sees you, and it's gonna come out eventually. Right? Carefulness brings age before the time. Yeah. So you don't want to be overly careful. Right? You want to go get up and move around. Right? Not like these Christians show. I'm just there's nothing wrong with prayer. I'm just praying in my house, and you have people with phobias of that. They're afraid to go outside of the house. They're afraid to experience new things. Right? That's how you push yourself too. It's another way you grow. You apply the scriptures, because of course, you're amongst the brothers, right? You're amongst like-minded men, but then you go out here in the world, the scriptures talk about having friends of the mammon of this world. All right, so you go out and you apply what you know in the real world around you. All right, and you make adjustments if something goes south. So this is a thing of growth. This is a thing of application. All right, personal application. It's an interpersonal application, intrapersonal application. And all these things, becoming a new man, becoming a new creature, as the scriptures talk about, and putting off the old shit. But Lord willing, this is edifying. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shai, Rakakadash, the Apostles, the elders, the great millstone, who rule well. Shalom to the elect.